Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at LuckyDiceCafe.com. And now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, and Tylor Speeds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everybody know Clixed Off is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, world's largest HeroClix retailer. Find HeroClix new and old on TrollandToad.com and use coupon code Clixed Off for 5% off your HeroClix order. Merchant and pre-order items do not apply. If you like what you're hearing today on Clixed Off, check us out patreon.com/Clixed Off. This month, there's a $50 Troll and Toad web credit giveaway for our patrons. $1 and above gets entered into those monthly giveaways. $5 and above gets entered into our Discord server channel for patrons for HeroClix strategy and tactics discussion. And joining me today is, oh man, what did we call it? Was it Tylor Spud Tater Spees?
No, and I've been sitting here trying to remember what it was, and now I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't understand the reference.
And I'm very mad.
Right, yeah, let's just, so joining us today is Tylor Spud Tater Spees.
I don't understand this reference.
Saturday we come up with some name for you, and now I can't remember what it was.
Can I ask why?
Well, because
there was just a word that just made sense to your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spitaler?
I don't think it had anything to do with potatoes, but now I really don't remember what it was.
Right. And then also
I'll ask Pete.
And then joining us today is Alex. Did not drive 8 hours Coos.
I mean, not to Columbus, right?
He was in Florida this weekend.
Yeah, I probably drove 8 hours total on the week, maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
Maybe.
But...
And then also joining us tonight is Azrith. Can't think of the name for Tylor Strife.
Yo.
And our special guest this evening, winner of the HeroClix tourney before Gen Con, George, the Goat Massu.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Woo!
Yeah. That was, by the way, I was thinking about that. That was a super original name for Jay's, like, so it's funny, like, so obviously today is our final Road to Nationals episode, and we're going to recap our adventure at Jay's tournament this past weekend. But, like, if you think about it, like, WKOs, right, get a lot of folks. Rock regionals, rock super qualifiers, whatever they're called over the years, gain a lot of people. But given that our lack of structure the past 2 years on tournaments, Jay Major just hosts HeroClix tourney before Gen Con, and 26 people show up.
And not only that, I'd be hard pressed to hear an argument of Jay's tournaments also have some of probably the highest competition, like the highest caliber of competition condensed.
Yeah,
it's really like just a very difficult field to go through every time. Like, it's not like a one-off thing.
Yeah, for sure. Jay's store is definitely my favorite store to play at, like, hands down.
Well, especially now that we don't even play in the store.
Yeah, they just have to get that, like, I don't even know what you call it.
It's called the window room. I learned that.
The window room. Oh, I mean, it is. It's just like it's like, 3 foot or 3-story high windows that overlook downtown Columbus. It's really spacious. You got plenty of room. You have like most places, like, you're struggling to find food on the break, and he has a whole food court like 20 feet away.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, definitely.
A bathroom
awesome.
literally in that room.
Yep. It only rivals really like Lucky Dice's setup. I mean, just because of the food.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but they have like 10 different places to eat.
That's true. Now Howard does have a huge menu, but there is no ethnic food on Howard's menu, so I'll definitely give the edge there to the ethnic food that's available. At Jay's place.
I love that Greek place. I always go there. Mykonos.
Yeah. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Mykonos.
But then we played HeroClix.
Right, we did. And George went undefeated on the day. So congratulations, George.
Thanks, bud.
Could have lost the last round of Swiss, but somebody decided they needed a longer lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you go do? You were the last one back from lunch, too.
Dude.
You had an entire extra 45 to 55 minutes.
You know what? I took a nap, and it was so nice.
We just assumed you went to North Market and just stayed there.
Dude, maybe I should have done that. I love North Market, too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so...
It is a cool place. I like that, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, I thought I'd get like a, hey, Jay said we have to be back by this time. But I never got that. So it was just, hey, you need to be here. And then,
Right.
It's a good thing you woke up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was awake by that point. But,
oh, gosh.
But, yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
That would be another level of tolerance.
Just sleeping through the top.
Yeah, it isn't that you slept and missed the whole tournament. You slept and missed Top
The
Cut.
Top Gun.
You went to sleep in the last round of Swiss and missed Top Cut.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
That would be awful. But like a hilarious story. Let's not do that in 10 days or so. Gen Con. So
Yeah.
So I don't know, so I think here's what I would like to do, because we're kind of going to talk about our tournament on Saturday, but I would like to talk a little bit about, for those of us that are going, and I'll say this, George, I only gave you a hard time about you not about you not going to Gen Con because you made such a public spectacle of not going. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything.
I don't mind. Hey, if I can dish it, I can also take it. It's cool. It was fun.
Right. Yeah. So what I think I would like to do, and I've been thinking about this part today, is just kind of going around the table. And kind of putting a pin, because we've been talking about it pretty much since, April at this point, of our road to nationals, right? So put a pin in everything that we've been talking about. I can go first if y'all kind of want what I'm thinking on my mind, if you want to emulate that.
Yeah, you can give us the format, how you want to go about it.
Yeah, so I'll start out with, so the thing I've been talking about a lot would be weight loss and my exercise journey. So what I noticed, as a recap there, what I noticed specifically after I left Rock Cup in May was, in PJ's event in May, or PJ's event in April, was that I was getting fairly tired too early in the event. 2 years out of practice, right? Basically, for most everybody. Now, PJ's event, I figured, was a little bit of an exception. I mean, both events were rather exceptional. PJ's event, I stayed up too late the night before, and I was selling a bunch of stuff that I had brought, right? So my attention was divided. And then Rock Cup, I got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't play until 5 o'clock at night. Because
that long gap was probably detrimental to you.
Right. So, I mean, I got top 8 at PJ's event, and I got second at Rock Cup. So, I'm thinking, what is that next level of stuff that I needed to be able to take, right? So, the weight loss journey, we ended up with a goal of about 5 pounds down of the 20 that I was aiming for. And I have very, very proud to say I have kept up 10,000 steps 4 to 5 days a week or more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so super proud about that. And I would say, so in regards to Jay's event this weekend in my energy levels, we stayed with my in-laws at their campground, which is about 2 hours from Columbus, because Columbus is like 5 hours from where I'm at, or where I live. So we went to the campground, and I didn't get the best night of sleep because it's in a camper. So
in-laws can wear anybody down.
I mean, it's fine. My in-laws are. I actually don't mind my in-laws. My in-laws are really great. But it's in a campground. I go forward an hour, right? So I woke up at 5:45 that morning, my normal time, which I never do, and got ready, drove 2 hours. Met with PJ, and I would say going into top 4, I felt a brief moment of tiredness, but overall was totally fine and held up, even with a not so great night of sleep before.
Okay,
that's great.
So in regards to Gen Con, right, where I'm going to get a good night's sleep. Well, we've got our schedule built in to get a good night's sleep that Wednesday night, and then that Friday night as well. So my schedule's built around being able to get that good night's sleep and not having to rush around a whole bunch. Now the nerves will still be there, but that was my big part of prep and Road of Nationals. And then I'd say the second part of it for me would be my team. I'll say this, George, you told me this Saturday, and I probably haven't felt that humbled, or that, I don't know if humbled would be the right word, but just appreciative of someone telling me something. You said, Dan, you're ready for Nationals.
Yeah, I think so.
And
wow, he didn't tell me that. He must think I'm shit.
Right. So my team is set. I don't have any reason at this point that I will not be playing Thanos, Sicarian Iron Man, Molecule Man, Commissioner, Marvella, and the Cloak for an even 300. I will be packing the themed version of Thanos as well, but that is most definitely what I'm going to the qualifier with on Thursday. So
yeah, I mean, you and I had a good top 8 game, and like nothing felt out of place on your team. I felt like we had a good game too.
Yeah, we did. So I don't know. I don't even know what version of Thanos I'm on. So in my practice, I've played Agatha, I've played Dooms, I've played Scarlet Witch 4 different ways. I had monsters for I had monsters for long enough to acquire and sell a Venom Wolverine. So.
And in the words of Thanos, it just led you all back to me.
That's right, exactly. I tried to fight it for as long as I could, but it took a while to find the team that worked well post errata. I mean, we had, I think as a community we had felt that an errata was coming, so I felt pretty good about the guesses that we made on the errata, and it really helped out getting ahead of that curve. So.
Yeah, I mean, you were even playtesting it before with potential erratas before that ever even came down.
Even the double errata, right, which ended up not happening. So that would be the capstone on my road to Nationals at this point. So I would say, who's ready to discuss?
I can go
team?
next.
Yeah, go ahead, Az.
So the first part of my at least like prep has been like I talked about in the one episode, is like just making sure I'm drinking more water, like just kind of trying to take better care of myself. My weight loss, like dieting, hasn't really been great, but I started seeing a chiropractor, and I already like feel a difference in like my knees. so like I can be on my feet longer, and I have a chiropractic adjustment right before Gen Con, which is great. But then going forward, so the team I played this weekend, that now that I've actually played the team, I feel much more comfortable playing it next weekend, is the Scientist team that PJ was playing with Sicarian Iron Man and Wizard, and then a whole bunch of support around it. So Sicarian Iron Man, Wizard, 3 Flashes, High Evolutionary, sorry, it's Wizard Prime, 3 Flashes, Teen Lantern, Molecule Man, and I feel like and Demon in an Armor with the emotional with emotional modifier and the cloak. And Wizard Prime, like I knew he was like good, but until I played him, I didn't realize how good he was. Mm-hmm. And especially him with the emotional modifier.
Yeah. I mean, he does a lot on that team specifically, right? He lets you outwit. He lets you all of your PDs work on one target. He lets
from safety.
Right. Yeah, that's the big like you pick a target and your whole team can outwit them and PD them while you shoot them from wherever you want. So he does a lot on that team specifically. But
right. Well, and I would say I'm fairly proud to say that I helped PJ out a lot with that team. You know, in counter building Thanos, to be honest. And that's how he ended up on having to play the emotional modifier, basically on that team.
Yeah, and that's kind of where he led me. He's like, all right, here's the emotional modifier. Against Thanos, it should just be on Wizard because Wizard can see everybody on the team. There's no body blocking Wizard.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier to just hit the whole team, because that's normally the problem with emotional modifier is, you know, Thanos can see somebody, especially on a team that big. But
yeah, it lets you stay in your formation and maintain Battle Fury.
Yeah.
But it felt really good playing it. Saturday was the first time I'd ever played the team. I ever even like put it on the map. I got top 8, and yeah, it just felt good. I felt better and better the more I played it as the day went on.
Yeah, good. Tylor?
Yeah. So I guess for the whole journey is, it started when my boy Grod retired. That was the start of it. And I obviously was playing animals, so I just had to find a new team to play. And you know, the Disney Plus came out, obviously Sicarian and the Witches were big, and they shared celebrity. So I got really excited about, you know, Marvel and Spider-Man family. And I did like a whole package with each of the spider chases, you know, all the keywords, ruler and stuff like that. And I, you know, just settled on police. I thought it was the best option. Play tested a lot, started with Agatha. Ended up dropping her just because I do like the figure Agatha better, personally, but just you can do so much for 25 points right now that it's probably worth it to drop her down. Was my thoughts.
I think I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then, you know, the team sort of came together. I was struggling with the last 25 points for a while, figuring it out. I think I finally landed on Mary Jane. It's just really, really good, you know, obviously. And then I honestly am not 100% set on the last 10 points. It's either going to be Cloak and Dimensional Watch, or Emotional Modifier for the last 10 points. I'm not sure. It's kind of it's still kind of up in the air.
You never used the Dimensional Watch.
I equipped it the last game, but I ended up not being able to use it because it would have I would have needed an 8 on the team I was playing against. But that's fine if I don't, the reason I didn't do it, didn't equip it, is because there was just better targets. You know, they either, if they have 2 objects and I win map, instead of equipping my Emotional Watch, I can just break their 2 objects and go up 20 points. That's probably better. But having the watch on matchups where they don't have objects, or maybe I go second and they can't destroy my objects or something like that, I think the Dimensional Watch
maybe
has so much with the
Emotional
Flash. Or Dimensional Watch. Yeah, I think it adds a lot with the Flash because, if the Flash is able to hit them from 14 squares away or 18 if I perplex it up, then I can pop over my Scarlet Witch if I roll for it and then ruin their team, which, just the even the threat of that is probably worth the 5 points. Yeah, and that's sort of where I'm at, I guess.
So it was a threat until people listen to this podcast and realize you haven't done it in any of your games.
That's true.
So do you mind sharing your full?
Oh yeah. So it's Scarlet Witch and Sakaar and Iron Man. Obviously, it's going to be Marvella to get the keywords. Miles West, who is really great. He's like MVP a lot of the times. Having Underworld with him, being able to carry Iron Man and somebody else up 9 squares. He also has the Spider-Man call and help thing. His shape change helps a lot against Thanos. He's just been really great in testing. Then I have for police, I have the 2 Flashes. I have Commissioner, and then I have Mary Jane for my last one with obviously the objects that I'm not sure on yet. That's it.
Gotcha. All right. Alex.
So I didn't play this weekend, but I've gotten a decent amount of practice with the team.
We're not talking about this weekend. We're talking about the road to nationals.
I'm talking about my road to nationals. Yeah, I'm just saying. I haven't practiced. I've practiced more than I thought I would have, which is good. So I'm still on the Spider-Man family celebrity team that I've talked about every episode, Fantastic Four, all of that. So it's the Sakaar Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, and then I won't go into the Marvella, and basically like 150-ish points, 140 points of Fantastic Four swap out, basically. It's an Invisible Woman and then like a Thing and Mr. Fantastic and Human Torch and all of that. And ultimately 99 times out of 100 I'll be swapping to Franklin Richards, Lockjaw, and then the other 50 points is kind of up in the air. So I usually either go to like Valeria and keep Human Torch out. I've tried Bentley and High Evolutionary, which is really good. And there's like a lot of nice combos in the 50-point range. I had less points before because I was playing Mary Jane Watson, but I ultimately dropped her because I wanted to play Emotional Modifier. Because I feel like Fantastic Four is, at least this version, is a little mind control vulnerable, a little bit. And I like Lockjaw being able to equip the Emotional Modifier and having those 2 squares. So I feel good about it. I've seen other people play a very similar variation, so that kind of makes me feel even better about it. When someone else is trying to play a similar team, I'm like, okay, I'm not like lone wolfing it and trying. Dude, sometimes you get like so stuck on a build, and you're like, well, I built this, so I'm gonna make sure it works, and then you're so
invested.
You're so invested, and you can't be convinced out of it. And so seeing other people play it, and it's like, okay, at least a variation of it, I'm like, okay, I think I'm on the right path. It felt good in almost every matchup. Like I had angles, I had options, and it's a team where I feel like it's really going to come down to my own skill as opposed to, I just didn't build it correctly. So I feel good about it. I need to get a little bit more practice with Lockjaw carrying with the Emotional Modifier and that timing, but besides that, I feel pretty good about it. As far as getting myself ready, I haven't been to Gen Con before. I'm in pretty decent shape since last year, so I feel pretty good about it. The only thing I need to do is I need to find a mask, because the only mask I have is from my work, and I don't really want to be wearing like a work labeled mask. Because I don't want, yeah, I work in a place where it's like I don't want people to know that I work in this insurance company or something, right? So
Oh, it's got like the logo on it.
yeah, it's got the logo, like the name, and I'm like, I don't want people to be like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got like a bag full of K95 masks. If you want me to bring you some.
no, I'll probably get like some like snazzy Marvel looking mask or something
Okay.
thematic.
I would wear the one that I had from Disney, but it's way too small to wear for long periods of time.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
those are
that's,
things you gotta remember.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point. Alex and respectfully, I guess. Well, just it's not even respectfully. It's just a fact. Tylor, Az, and I, y'all, we have some pretty big heads.
Yeah.
So, why you did that is a good reminder, Alex. I do need to go get an appropriately sized mask for my dome.
Luckily, my mom works for a medical facility, so she can just get me kind of those medical ones.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, and especially lately, at least down here in the South, no one's wearing masks anymore unless you're in like certain places. So, like I mentally are like, yeah, I've got a mask. It's no big deal. I'll bring one. And then I was sitting here like going through my list. I'm like, that's right. I don't like. I don't know where they are. It's been like months. And I want to make sure because we are going to have them on for a majority of the time, and I don't want one that because I have a few that you're like, okay, I really don't want to wear this the entire time. So now I'm like, okay, this was not on my list originally, but it needs to be. So just something to keep in mind. Make sure we have to wear masks, which it is what it is, but just
make sure they're comfortable.
Yes, because you will be wearing it, the entire time. I assume they're going to be fairly strict on it.
Yeah, my understanding from reading the Gen Con Facebook group is that if you're walking through the corridors of the convention center, you're not technically in Gen Con, so they can't really enforce it there.
But any of the rooms.
But any of the rooms, when you walk in, you do have to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I know from people that I talked to last year when they went to Gen Con, they were pretty strict on enforcing. If you were in a spot that you had to have a mask on, you had to have the mask on.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, just something to be aware of. So, but yeah, no, I would say, Alex, how much? So in 21, how much weight did you end up losing overall? If you don't mind sharing.
I weighed about 225, 230, which was the largest I've probably weighed in a long time. And that's just over the years, you just kind of let the weight add on and don't think about it. And for me, what really kicked it off, the weight loss, was, I know you were only asking how much I lost, but
yeah, I didn't.
What really kicked it off for me was when they were rolling out the COVID vaccines, and they're like, the people who are, the people who could get it early are these, and it's like people who are considered obese, and I was like, I don't have to worry about that. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, well, shoot, I am considered obese.
I could have an entire tangent on the BMI scale.
Yeah, but either way, it was kind of one of the main things that was just like, well, shoot, it was awakening, because I always knew I was overweight for my size and for my height, and it was the first time I was like, okay, I can't have any more excuses. So I went on I lost, and ended up losing I'm down to 175. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Holy smokes!
So I lost about 50 something pounds.
Right.
I think that I can't do the math right now, but
yeah.
That's
and
great.
the hard part is trying to make sure I don't fall into bad habits again and regain, because your weight's going to always fluctuate 5 pounds or so, 5 sometimes 10, but yeah, so far I've been keeping it off, and I have dips and raises every once in a while, but my ideal weight for me is 165, so I'm still not quite there. But
right, yeah, I'm still not. I'm still not quite to my ideal yet, but yeah, last year I lost about 80 to 90.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd really like to lose about another 50. Of course, I'm obviously, for folks that haven't met me, I'm 6'6" and a pretty big fella. But I am happy to say for this first 7 months of this year, I have kept it off. And
yeah, that's great.
And the whole reason I bring this up, this is obviously a HeroClix podcast, right? This is not a health and beauty podcast, but I have come to find is that as I have gotten older and the longer I've played this game, the more important that stamina is for being able to maintain, to play these long tournaments, to play at this high level. It's very much helped me, and that's why we're here, right, to share our HeroClix journey. So,
I mean, no one's beating around the bush. I mean, HeroClix is a sedentary game. Like it's not like it's high action and you're moving around with it. So,
but it requires a lot of brain power.
Right. If that burned a lot more calories, man, we would be like the skinniest guys out there because of how much brain power you got.
I feel with HeroClix, and I think I mentioned this when we were talking about the PJ event. HeroClix is also a competitive game, like card games and board games and such, that I think has the highest rushes of adrenaline and then the quickest falls. Yeah, you will have rushes of adrenaline at in moments of a game, and then the game is over, and then you wait for the next round, and your adrenaline comes down, and then you spike again, and that's going to wear you out.
Yeah. Same with anger.
Yeah.
I think those I feel like I've played a bunch of other games, and I feel like this game also because it's so, like you said, such a range of emotions and tenseness. There's a lot of times where it's just you're just overwhelmed with anger emotions at times for things you don't need to be angry at, but and then you're mentally drained. Yeah, absolutely. You come out of it and you're in a fog sometimes, where you're just oh man, what's going on? Oh, I haven't eaten in 8 hours. Oh, I need to eat something now, or go take a nap.
That's right. Yeah, and that's an important thing and somebody had asked about this. And I said, there's a big thing to be fed, but not overfed when you're playing HeroClix.
You don't want to go into sleep coma in the middle of a round.
That's right. So, anyways, I wanted to share that just because I wanted to brag on you a little bit, Alex.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And
I appreciate it. Same with you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's interesting also, just to piggyback off of that, to look at some of the pictures from last year too, seeing you and me or whatever. Specifically, I guess in my case, you, because I don't look at myself that often. Just seeing the visible difference as well. It's big because it's easy to say, 80 to 90 pounds is obviously significant, but you don't realize just how significant it is until you do a stupid before and after picture, basically, right. And you see the difference, and you're like, oh man. Those face gains, right. And so
yeah, that's true. So
George, what did you play this weekend?
Yeah, George. So we're on to George now. So that kind of
I'm here.
I tell you what, George, I want to talk a little. I've got a lot to say about Fantastic Four, and I thought about doing a video on breaking down some of our games, and I just don't think I'm going to have time to do that before Nationals. Okay. So we're going to talk about it today. So George, what we obviously know how you did, but talk to us about what you played on Saturday. And
I played,
and to answer the how, the what, and the why of what you played Saturday.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So the what is the easy part. I played Wesley's Fantastic Four build. He gave it to me. So it's a +8, all Fantastic Four. It's Valeria High Evo, 20-point Human Torch, Invisible Woman, the 40 and the 60, for a double swap, and then it's Wolverine, 30 the
Charge 41.
Yeah, the OP one or something like that, OP Kit one or whatever you call it. Then Mr. Fantastic in the suit, and then Dad Bod Thing. Since we're on the subject of health, we'll say Dad Bod Thing. And then the emotional modifier. overall, I think it's a solid team. Really good defensive shell. Has enough offense to supplement victories, things like that. The why I played this, really, I was just my road to Gen Con is going to end at Jay's event.
Sure.
I'm just outside the gates, but so I played it. I really just wanted to go and one play. I haven't played since the beginning of the year at Scott Crampton and PJ's event that I won, the Critical Clicks event. And I hadn't thrown dice since then. And I was also there kind of like to scout a little bit just to see what is going on. Where's the what is the social climate for the meta? You know, how far off am I from my guesses and things like that. So and then he also wanted some feedback on his team. I've never played it before. So my advice can only go so far if I haven't actually played something, because it's easy to spot things in the macro, but then when you start playing it, you see the micro a little bit better, and you can give better advice. So I wanted to do a couple things. One, scout the what's out there in the field. Two, I wanted to help him refine his team, make it better. And then three, just see faces, have fun, and make a day of it. That's why I did it.
So I have a question for you then, George. If you were looking to scout and kind of see where your pin was in the meta going into it, how close to it were you, or how off were you?
So I was close enough. I'll tell you, I'll put other things that I didn't expect. One is the number of higher theme teams. Okay, so I thought 7 was going to be kind of like the threshold,
the average,
and it's sort of like 8. It's sort of I'm going to change that to 8 now, and possibly 9 with the exception of the scientist team. But I'm going to say it's 8. So not 7 and below. It's going to be like 8 and below. So 8, I think, is the number you kind of have to hit if you want a good theme team number to win map. Second thing was the amount of barrier. And I know barrier is important, but I think on the teams I saw, there was at least 2 functioning characters with barrier. It's 2, and then if you play Molecule Man, it's like 2+.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of proliferating the field too. So I was a little off on the amount of barrier and the theme team base. I thought it'd be a little bit lower, but it's actually a little higher. So
yeah,
that kind of took me, by surprise a little bit.
I like that. I like that analysis, George. So what was so there was a question there. So did you have so Jose Maldonado wants to know, did you have any alternative teams that you were thinking about, or did you kind of like take Wes's suggestion and you were like, yeah, that sounds good?
No, I think once once Nationals got scrubbed, it was shift gears, just sort of move into a support position. Just sort of like help guys refine the teams that are going, and so things kind of changed. No, there was no alternative teams. I didn't really have a team until the week of the event, and then he gave it to me, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. So then he sent me a PDF of his team, and I'm a little old-fashioned, so it was difficult to read. and I called him the day later. I said, hey, can you just kind of give it to me over the phone? And I just started penning and papering it, down. And okay, so it's this character's the main force. Who gets swapped into what? So I was trying to memorize that just to get a basis of what I had to do to do the swap correctly.
Yeah, you brought a whole portfolio like you were going to a job interview.
I did, because if someone was to ask me, what point? I'm like, oh, geez, I got to go look it up, So,
George, did you just say that the PDF was old-fashioned, so you had to take it to pen and paper?
No. I said I'm old-fashioned.
George himself is old-fashioned.
Oh, I was about to say, it's like, whoa.
And anybody that has played George online knows this, because he will not use HC Realms. He will sit there with his cards.
Hey, that more power to you. I mean,
after playing the team, was there anything that you noticed that you would maybe change, or that maybe overperformed or underperformed outside of what you thought it would?
Well, I got Mr. Fantastic killed a whole lot.
Sure.
So like my positioning wasn't too great, but yeah, for some reason it was like I was like a bully to Mr. Fantastic. Like the guy I needed to keep alive the most, I was getting him killed like first turn. I'm like, oh, I think I just killed him again. I think I'm like, I was like, in your video, I was like, I think I just did it again. I think I put him out of position again, and he's gonna die. Yeah, he died. So
yeah, and then what power does Mr. Fantastic have traded, George? Like, what standard?
Plasticity, which I also forgot.
Right, yeah. So,
You won't forget that one again, though.
No, not anymore.
So, like, I want to just, I want to frame up the rest of our conversation with this particular thought that I have. Is that my version of Thanos that I originally built back in post War of the Realms, which meant Destroyer became legal and Hammerjane became legal, was that it was built for Fantastic Four. I don't know if this has ever been stated this way by myself, but I think Fantastic Four is one of the strongest teams out there.
Yeah, I'll say Fantastic Four like top 2.
I think it is, right? And it's not being played by a lot of folks, right? I mean, Nate's been playing it since summer of 2020. You know, shout out to Nate, right?
Yep.
And then after the Critical Clicks event, Wes came out with his double lockjaw version. And, you know, Fantastic Four can be a number of different things, right? I know Nate plays it different than Wes. And, you know, it made the finals of PJ's event. But my original version of Thanos was built specifically because of Fantastic Four.
No kidding. Okay.
So I think what specifically you surprised me with this weekend, which I was not prepped for in our first game, because you and I played round 1. You were my only 2 losses on the weekend into top 4.
Yep.
Into top 4.
I saw your changes in game 2, but go ahead, talk about it.
Right. So the Latveria map, right? So I think if anybody knows or watches any of my games that I played against Fantastic Four, I'm framing it up that way, George, because like I'm sharing my experience with Fantastic Four, right? I don't want to like ask you to give up any like specific tips and tricks from the team or whatever that you might need to keep close to the chest, right? Not that you wouldn't, right? But I'm not going to put you in that position. So, you know, Fantastic Four has the autonomous Pog fella because it keeps Dad Thing. It has the autonomous Pog to equip the emotional modifier to the thing. And then the Lockjaws move a cajillion squares across the map. And they plop the team in front of you and pick Battle Fury, or if you're not Thanos, they'll probably pick -1 attack. So, and they have their 19 defense. Like, I know Nate has played Captain Carter's shield in the past, so it's a 20 defense on everybody, except for Dad Thing. And it sets in front of you and says, please come hit me. And
yeah, they've got a jaw like Rocky Balboa, man. Like, they can take a hit.
Yeah, they can take a hit, right? So my specific approach on approaching the team, and so I had not practiced the team on this Latveria map. So I want to make sure that
hey, real quick, you're talking new Latveria or old Latveria? Because they're both legal right now.
No, Latveria, not Latverian Village.
Right. That's what I wanted to clarify first, because there's 2 technically Latveria, one's village, one's not. So.
Right, yeah.
The Latveria map is also a reprint of an old map.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Yeah, so just Latveria, period.
So that's the non-peasant one.
Right.
That is the 4x4 starting area.
Yeah, the 4x4 starting area, which is big for the team because they can swap. So go watch the streams that I have, and they plop the Lockjaw 1 square out of the starting area during the swaps.
He keeps first immunity, doesn't he?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah. So that doesn't particularly matter because they move across the map.
That's kind of true.
But it would. It would keep first turn.
I haven't been doing that at all. I guess I need to.
Right. Yeah, you get the extra square movement that way, Alex.
I haven't thought about that.
So Latveria. So George and I, this is almost recapping our round 1 game, George.
Okay.
So that you do your swaps. The doggo sticks his face out of the starting area, a square, and then they just move. And the Latveria map only has 2 squares of exit on it, if you look at it, because there's barrier around it. Now, it is an outdoor map. So, and I think the other thing to think about is I've been studying this map, and there's only one sequence of squares that allows for a 7 movement sidestep drop of your objects to equip. Because you didn't necessarily steal my equipment. You could have with Valeria, but you didn't quite risk that.
Right.
But there's only one corner of the map, it's the top right one here on HC Maps, where someone with 7 movement could pick up the object and sidestep back into the starting area, along with not being touched by the 7 or 8 characters clogging up the 2 squares out in front of the start zone. So if you're reliant on TK to equip your objects, you just don't get it. And if you don't have a flying sidestepper with like 7 or 8 movement, you don't get your equips.
Or a charge flash.
You know what? I don't know. 1, 2,
He-
3, 4.
he ignores
5, 6.
characters.
I get that part, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, or a charge flash. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. And charge flash, we get to make an attack along the way, or 2 attacks.
He would get to make attack.
Right.
1 attack, because he has to come back.
So I know I'm talking very specifically about a lot of this stuff, but George and I played in round 1. So, and a lot of what I've advised my team on is how much damage can your team do without its objects, with the team setting right in front of you, with a -1 attack on a 19 or 20 defense. And can it KO the Lockjaws? And there's a couple of different ways to look at it. Can it KO both Lockjaws and Dad Thing? Because if it's able to do that, the turn 2, 3, 4 defense of the Fantastic Four suffers, right? George, you didn't lose any, right? But I assume you didn't lose both Lockjaws and ever lose.
No, I didn't lose a Lockjaw or a Dad Thing the whole event.
Right. So Tylor and Alex and Az will be able to say, right, I've mapped out for these teams how much damage are you able to do in one turn. And there's a couple of against the Fantastic Four.
Oh, against, okay.
Against, right. So are you able to take out both Lockjaws and Dad Thing, which is somewhere in the 18 damage category, and some of these teams are able to pump them out, but Tylor, skipped round 5, so
there goes all the plates.
I know against when me and George played, he came over, took my objects, and I'm like, well, I just kind of have to take what I can get, and unfortunately that's kind of what some teams have to do. So I was able to kill Valeria, but then I couldn't really do much else after that. And George hit me with something I didn't see coming, which was the hypersonic quake play.
Right.
That was a good play.
And then, as something I don't think that we did that I need to talk to you about probably for next week is, because I talked about it with PJ on the drive home, is what is your approach and how much damage can you get out? Because we did it for the Spider-Man family team, but we didn't do it for the scientist team. So
makes sense.
We have a piece of work to do all of this next week.
Yep, absolutely.
So I know I know this is George, spotlighting George's win here. But the other option is how much can you run? And that's what Thanos does. I run. I did lose to George both times. But George, I think our first game was 125 or 120 to 60.
Very low.
Very low.
Yeah, it's
and
very, very low scoring games.
And then our second game was like 55 to 60. No, 55 to 30, and I missed the attack on Lockjaw to KO him. I think.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother with. I mean, at least when I was takeaway that day, like I'm not gonna try to chase Thanos down. It's not worth it. I think I can just again play Rocky and just say, "Come on, hit me," and then the bell dings and I'm all bloodied and beaten up, but I go to my corner.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Now I think because I think if I had hit that last attack on Lockjaw, right, then you had probably a turn to try to KO my Molecule Man or my Marvella.
Yeah, I'd have to commit pretty hard.
That was completely on the other side of the map.
Yes.
Because George was back in his starting area, and your characters were back in your starting area.
Yeah.
That's right. So, but you had the Pogs out there, so like the Pogs, you could have moved and did some stuff with the Pogs. But so like I feel like at the end of the day, that my current version of Thanos has a pretty good run factor, and a pretty good defensive factor.
I think so. I think your Thanos team is geared up well. I mean, like one thing that a lot of people don't give you credit for, because they just see what's the obvious is like the point and shoot, like Unimine, Darkseid, Thanos, is that they don't see how you build your support. And you have a real knack to build the like the S tier support for that tank, and that's what I think sets you apart and makes your builds just one notch above all the other people who play the same. Like the Thanos.
Yeah.
That's what always gives you the play above them.
Yeah, I appreciate that, George. Now, I would say this. I want to go ahead and just add this real quick. This particular Thanos team came from none other than Scott Crampton.
Yeah, well, maybe we're in 2012 here. Scott's going crazy with tournaments.
So what I figured was, and this was, I guess, about 2 weeks ago, was I was like, all right, you know what? I helped Scott win the Kilted Classic, right, by building the team and talking to him about it. I went to Scott and I was like, Scott, what are you doing with Thanos? What are you doing?
Time to repay the favor, Scott.
Yeah, I was like,
okay, so I gotta give him some credit.
Yeah, I was like, I'm coming for my flesh, my pound of flesh, basically, Scott. And
where we're going with this.
I don't either, but we've talked about Thanos quite extensively. I've talked to Friedman about Thanos quite a bit, and Jay about it, and that's why I've arrived on this one. So, but anyways, Fantastic Four. Go watch the Latveria matchups.
George, did you lose map all day?
Yeah, I did. I lost it against the Monster team. It was, I think, +8 as well.
What was the Monster team? I didn't see it.
I know it was running Ymir.
I saw Ymir. I didn't see
Good
that.
for a monster.
It was very similar to like the basic monster show with like Sky Tyrant and Wolverine, Magneto, Commissioner.
Sure.
And it was like Ymir. I don't know if he was playing any Moloids.
He was playing. I played
two
against
of them, I think.
Yeah, there was two of them. I played against him in round 4. Yeah, so it was Scarab, Commish, Venom, Wolverine, Sky Tyrant,
That's right.
Ymir, 2 Moloids,
Radioactive play.
That game against Scott was...
and Necrosword.
That game was paladin it. Yeah, I was playing it, and that was the game I came closest to losing my Lockjaws, I think. Like, he had them both down to, like, last click or click before.
That team can pump out serious damage.
Yeah, they pump out a lot of
if
damage.
it can hit.
Yeah, they pump out a lot of... He hit all of his rolls. He was pumping out major damage, and my dogs were really taking a whooping.
Yeah, that was... Fantastic Four's high defense and Monster's inability to get stat modifications on attack is kind of why I started to shift away from it.
He was hitting. He was doing good, and like he really, he hurt me. Poochies were hurting.
Yeah, does Monster have any perplex anymore?
No, just from the Darkhold.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to have Darkhold and then Scarab to get a +2, and then maybe like Modifier gets you back.
Maybe if Disney Plus came out after the Doctor Strange movie, Scarlet Witch would have Monster. But...
Yeah.
We did both get Destroyer out that game, though. We had Destroyers on our forces as well. So we had Monsters plus Destroyer. I had Fantastic Four plus Destroyer. So it was like...
How often did you get Destroyer out?
Only that game. Because I was... I think on Ledveria I can, disrupt equipment disruptions, so there's no one to hit with equipment.
And then nobody's hitting Dad Bod.
Exactly. So...
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. It was fun to bring them out.
Yeah.
I've never done that before either in live play, so that was good. I like that. That was a good experience.
I definitely brought Destroyer. I would say most of my games for sure. I would maybe like 5 out of 6 games that I played.
So I guess that's a good point, right? So in my evolution, I have remembered to roll for my Destroyer and help my opponent roll for their Destroyer, because it is non-optional. So how, as you didn't play Destroyer, but Tyler, did you feel good about your Destroyer rolls, like remembering to make them?
The first game, I did forget, and I don't know, just needed to warm up or something. But after that, I definitely was very aware of it and was able to roll for him. So I feel good about that.
I'll be honest, best part about playing Wizard Prime, not having to remember.
Don't worry about it. Worst part about playing Wizard Prime, you don't get a roll for Destroyer.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's definitely a mental load off for sure.
Right, makes sense.
I will tell you, I did not roll one time for a Skrull Spy, and I definitely should
Me
almost every time.
neither. That I did forget every game.
Yep. But that's, one thing at a time,
That was the most played piece at the tournament, was a Skrull Spy.
And I bet maybe 3 hit the map.
I didn't see any. Yeah. That's funny.
So I would say that also I was very pleased with my ability to do that, my evolution and my ability to do that this year.
Yep.
So, just spoiler alert for another Prime to maybe take its spot in like a week. Anyways, that's for the next episode. So, George, what was the throughout the day, what was the most amount of points that you lost during the game? Because it doesn't sound like you ever lost too many.
Good question. Yeah, it was always either 30 or 60 or.
I know. I got
because
almost 100.
Let's just say Mr. Fantastic's an auto loss. I kept getting him killed. And then as this game, you got a few points from me. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that part, I guess. Don't know.
That's fair.
I just saw Mr. Fantastic dead all the time.
Sure. But Ben Gronhide asked, how much work did he put in, or was he usually swapped out? So did you keep him in every game?
If I saw Barrier. I think he was in every game. Yeah, he was in every game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He gets rid of the terrain. He's like my molecule man, I guess, right?
Right.
He's the anti-molecule man, yeah.
He's the anti-molecule man. And then I guess the other question is, throughout your day, from George William Ong, did you face either of the witches throughout the day, Agatha or Switch?
Yeah, there was a mystical team there. It was Agatha, Agnes, Blackheart, and something else.
Oh, Luke, yeah.
Luke played it, yeah. A good idea, and I gave him a good map. That's the map I was like, well, I haven't played Helicarrier yet. Let's play Helicarrier. That was dumb, because then I gave him all the Henry he needed for Agatha. So that kind of worked against me, but it still worked out in the end. He just made some really bad plays, and they were easy to capitalize on. But yeah, it was just Agatha. No witches. I think I was slated to play one Scarlet Witch, but then she broke for lunch.
Yeah, yes.
I heard she got real sleepy.
Yeah.
Just hex magic and had to go to lunch.
That's true.
You know what happens? Happens to the best of them.
It does.
Tyler wanted to keep some secrets close to the chest.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Tyler's plan all along is to make Fantastic Four seem better for Nationals next week, and how well it beats Thanos without revealing its matchup with the witches.
And he was ready to reveal the secret in the finals against George, but then he couldn't beat Jalen.
Yes.
God
Oh
damn it.
no!
Oh, that's my first loss ever to Jalen. I felt so bad.
You know what? Like, so I love Jalen, and this is all done in the best of the best intentions here. But Tylor asked me. He said, Tylor states, Dan, I lost to Jalen. Do you know how that feels? And I go, and to which I respond, I do not, Tylor. I do not. I'll let you know if that happens. Jalen's a very good player. And
not only did he lose to Jalen, I watched Tylor get so tilted from the words Captain Marvel Prime.
I honestly forgot how he worked until that game. Because nobody's playing him anymore.
3 times against you, and you're just like, damn it!
Yeah, I did. It's like, because I forgot every time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It was a fun game to watch.
So, you know what? There's one other question, and George, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one, or versus maybe even more a question for Weth, but it's a dual question from Jack Smith.
Okay.
Do you think that the Fantastic Four holds up after X of Swords? Do you see it getting worse or better? And then do you put any of the Fantastic Thors on the team? Hey everybody, check out a quick ad break here for Auxxit. Check out Auxxit. Our link to join is in the bio. Auxxit is a HeroClix community for buy, sell, trade, and HeroClix discussion. As we said, link in this bio to join. Check them out. They do auctions and all kinds of cool stuff. Nerd, collectible, geek-wise. Pretty cool stuff.
I definitely see it staying the same. I don't know if it gets worse or better. I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's a question for Wes. And Thors, I have no idea what they do. I haven't even seen them yet. All right, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, that's all right. And I think I tend to agree the same way. Like, Fantastic Thors are not legal for Nats. So we're not thinking about them yet. I'm not even thinking about them yet. Like, admittedly, I won't say it this way. I'll say it this way, maybe for dramatic effect. The guys are forcing me to do the X of Swords preview before Gen Con. And I haven't even
for our listeners.
And I haven't even looked at the set yet. So
that's gonna make the set review better.
Yeah. No, all Dan needs to do. I mean, we could even do Dan's tier maker and just say everything D, Peepers S. That's all we would have.
Right.
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Wouldn't be wrong there, but
that's what Fantastic Four is, just out of the meta once Peepers hits the field.
Everything's out of the meta.
It's just all Peeper all the time.
You know what? Peepers does help a lot against Fantastic Four when they rush your starting area.
True.
This is very true.
Does he?
We don't have to talk about Peepers.
Can't give away the Secret Worlds tech.
Yeah, jeez, Tylor.
We don't talk about Peepers.
Don't do it.
Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Mike Baker asked too, just when using alchemical fire multiple targets, is the fire marker going all hit targets or just one? It's just one. So we can look at some of the data. Talk about some of the data thanks to Cody Burton. I would like to say, for those that didn't know, Alex had all the data put together. He just was
that night.
Yeah, he
did, but you were slacking on sharing it. So
no, I wasn't. I was like, I'm gonna put it. It was like I had it done Saturday night. I'm like Monday. Everyone's at work. It's perfect time. Or I was even thinking Sunday evening, and it's just he put it like Sunday afternoon, like before I did. And all credit to Cody, but
yeah, for sure.
I was definitely like, oh, I had already.
So I've got a spreadsheet pulled up here. Sicarian Iron Man times 9.
Out of what, 26 players, right?
26.
And honestly, that almost feels like it should be more.
It looks like he had only 21 builds that Jay.
Oh, he had incomplete data.
Right, so there was at least 5 builds that he didn't have data on. I mean, but that was on Jay, not on Scott or not on Cody.
Someone else had those builds.
Who?
Well, let's compare them to the master list of Alex. Were any of those missing 5 builds playing Sakarian Iron Man?
I 10 Sarkarian Iron Man. I missed exactly how many you said.
So one of the builds was missing a Sakarian Iron Man.
There was one. There was 26 people at the tournament. One person there was no build for because he actually just left after round 1. So I didn't count him in the builds because he didn't really participate. So
Sure.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with it, but I was like 1 round. I'm not going to equate that in the data. It's not. And I think he lost first round anyway, so I don't know.
So over a third of the field is Sakarian Iron Man.
That figure's good.
40%.
40%. That's a lot.
He's could be all right.
He's solid, and you can put him on a lot of good teams. I mean, he's really pound for pound one of the greatest figures in current meta right now.
And that's why I said you almost feel like that number should be higher.
He is was the highest main forced figure.
Right. So I think here's what is very important to think about as I look at these builds. I think that in general, I would have expected to see more Scarlet Witches and more Agathas and more Sakarian Iron Mans.
More?
Yeah.
I would have expected to see more of them. But there was only 2 Scarlet Witches in a field of 25/26.
And those are hard figures to get.
And those are only 2 Agatha Harknesses. Yes, because what is important and what Tylor continually fails to understand is the cost of a banana. In that
about 33 cents a pound.
Right.
I have $10. Sakarian Iron Man, but I do not own Agatha or Scarlet Witch.
Right. IRL clicks are harder to get. And even the highest level competitive players can't get every piece that they want.
They're doing something wrong then.
Right. Well, some people don't like to borrow, Tylor. Some people like to own their stuff.
That is true. There is definitely a pride element.
Right. So, like
none over here.
Right. So, by the way, it is a Arrested Development reference for anybody that doesn't know what is the cost of a banana.
And more.
So you're aware. PJ wasn't.
I also wasn't.
Yeah,
I love Arrested Development so much.
Yeah, it's a good show. So
yeah, there's.
But like your team, Tylor, like if you take like my team and your team, and like Thanos is still the people's champ. Right?
Because the people have rejected him.
Because Commissioner and Commissioner face each other out. Saki and Saki face each other out. And Thanos is $90. And your Scarlet Witch is $225 fucking dollars.
That's true. And 2 flashes.
Right, and 2 flashes at $100 a piece.
Thanos is definitely the bum's choice.
Right, I guess. I I mean...
Fantastic Four isn't that expensive, right?
Fantastic Four. Lockjaw has dropped in price.
Thank goodness.
But Lockjaw was the most expensive part of that team going in the Nationals.
That's a really cheap team, then, right?
I think Thanos, my Thanos version actually outprices Fantastic Four now.
Oh, the People's Champion has been dethroned.
I was looking for pieces that week, and I picked up, I think, all 4 pieces for like $6. It was like Invisible Woman, the thing that produces the Alicia Grimm, and who was the 4th one? It was, and I'm looking for it.
Poor Alicia Grimm, man.
Poor Alicia. Who was the 3rd? It was the Human Torch. It was Human Torch. I got them all. I got 3 from Steve and 1 from Ohio player Michael Kupak. He brought the thing for me.
That's who I bought my Lockjaw from.
Right, I tagged you in that, Alex. You're welcome.
Yeah, I got it for a very good price. So.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I love this Kupak Massu rivalry.
I was gonna say I played Mike last round of Swiss, and all he was doing was giving George shit.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like I
wished him bad luck in his match. I was like, I wish you bad luck, Mike. And he lost his game.
Oh my gosh, I don't know, but I like this Kupak fella. He's one of my favorite guys now.
Yep.
But so all right. So looking at the data, right?
Just real quick.
Yeah, but go ahead.
There was only one Iron Man that made top 4, so maybe that's, I don't know what that says, but it says
How
something.
How many made top 8 though?
I don't know.
You made top 4.
Two
didn't
more.
You made top 4, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the one.
Dan
you
also
have him. I
made
forgot
top
you have
4.
him.
Man,
Never mind.
wow.
I'm so used to your other Thanos build.
You know what? I'm gonna drop kick you next week.
I've only played your current Thanos build once, so it's not the one that's in my head when I think Thanos.
That's fair. But yeah, no, 2 Sicarian Iron Mans in top 4, 2 Thanoses in top 4, 1 Scarlet Witch in top 4, and then Fantastic Four was top 1, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you know of at least 3 that made it into top 8, because I mean, the 3 of you.
Yeah, there could have been a no, never mind.
I still made top 8.
So, yeah, because what did you play top 8? George played the Monster Team. What did you play, Tylor, in top 8?
You played Calvin.
Yeah, it was wasn't
Calvin.
Mystical, was it?
It was
Calvin,
Avengers
Calvin
or
Trevor.
Celebrity. It was celebrities. It was Scarlet Witch, Agatha Harkness, Sicarian Iron Man, and Billy Batson.
Yeah, so
Anna Marvella.
Billy
half the
Maximoff,
field.
yeah.
Billy Batson.
Yeah, so that was the 4th Sicarian Iron Man. There was one match. We don't know who Jalen played off the top of our head.
I'll look it up while you guys are talking.
Right, so there was 4 Sicarian Iron Mans in top 8. So that's not an insignificant...
4 in top 8, 2 in top 4.
Yeah, 50% of the field.
And none in the finals.
You could also argue, well, that could also be just a numbers thing as well, because that was the most played piece.
While you're looking, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna use the rest.
Yeah,
of
but
it
for
real quick.
good reason. I mean, he really is a good figure. I mean,
He's it's so dumb. I've said it since it was previewed. It is insane what he does for 50 points. It's like
I know.
He's at least 25 points undercosted. He would still be great at 75.
Mm-hmm.
What's is funny is that the 4 Sarkarian Ironmans in top 8 all played against each other.
Yep, we sure did.
So that happens sometimes.
Yeah, because Jalen played Robert Gallagher and Georgie played Scott, and neither of them played Sarkarian Ironman. So
yeah, because I played Dan, and then Tylor played Calvin.
But yeah, Sarkarian Ironman, there was 10 of them, 40% of the field. There are 3 Scarlet Witches actually. So that takes it to a mighty 12% of the field.
I liked Robert's team. It was just a Sinister Six team. It was what was it? It was two Sky Tyrants, 2 Scarabs, Commissioner, 2 Gigantas. So it was a +7. Yeah, it was a +7, and then equipment. But it was cool how he played the clay and with 2 Scarabs, so you're mind controlling twice across the field. He also played it on Laverian Village, which was cool because it was similar to what I used to do with Iceberg Lounge, where you would steal the objects, and then if they kill your figures to get the objects, you're retaliating them the next turn, which I love. I love seeing that. It's very effective. And then also something cool that he did is that on his mind control turn, he would power action to make Rookie, and Rookie's a giant, and on that map, there's like no hindering.
He has PD on it.
He has a PD, and he copies PD with Giganta, so you're -2 on the mind control that he can prob back there. So it was a really neat team.
Whose build was this?
Robert Gallagher's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Secret Six, right?
Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's pretty good against Scarlet Witch if you're worried about her, because it can outwit her. It can outwit defense powers on Thanos, or just mind control. You can outwit on mind control on Thanos if you win map against him.
Right.
And they're from across the map, and then there's like not much of a threat there. So the obvious downside is every Secret Six's downside is if you lose map, then I'm not sure what he does. But I thought it was a cool team.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, so Jalen played Robert, right?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. So,
I wonder if he. Oh, and yeah, also Jalen one map against me. Okay, I was a +3 on him.
You know what? So Tylor, like, I wanted to. I haven't specifically talked to you about this before, so might as well talk about it on the podcast. Is your like, I have to, like, your defense of like, you use like statistics as your defense, right?
Okay.
And it's like, oh, you're like, you just said it. You're like, Jalen beat me for map, and I had a +3 on him.
He did.
So it's like, it's the step up. I think I would call it a step up between using statistics as your defense versus, like, there's that extra step of what do you do against Heart of the Cards?
Lose, apparently.
You get Exodia.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, like,
No one beats Exodia, Dan. Heart of the Cards is Exodia.
Right. So,
well,
except
you take Exodia and you throw it into off the ship.
Right.
That's what Weevil did.
Right.
Sure.
So you might think I'm like, it's hard, like, to convey it, right? Because you're it's obviously kind of funny the way that I'm conveying it, but it's like, it's why I always, when we practice, I always tell y'all go worst case, right?
Exactly.
Work through the practice, worst case, right? And then even entertain me whenever I say, like, worst case. What happens?
Yeah, but
and then
I feel like I do that.
You do that, but then you just said it, and, you know, like, I'm taking your tone and intonation of how you said it, like, Jalen beat me for map, which means, like, if I had beat Jalen for map, the outcome would have been different.
Most likely, I would say yes. Because actually, I played him in Swiss, and I won map, and he, like, basically conceded turn 2, which was sad.
Maybe he wanted to go take a nap.
Yeah.
he did not, because he played out the game. Okay, but he was just trying to get points after that. But yeah,
That's true, but it's like, it's the difference between, like, that's your Heart of the Cards, right? Like, play losing map, play missing, play your opponent hitting the bigger numbers, that sort of thing.
yeah, but I did. You know, when we practice, we do play with, like, I lose map to Thanos. I've done that.
I've got you there, right? I've got you there over the years, admittedly, but, like, I just feel like it was a good thing to bring up because of how you said you lost map to Jalen. You just said it with such vigor and enthusiasm that I figured it would be a good point to bring it up.
That it's just, that can happen.
Right. It definitely can. I'll be, empirical evidence says it happens 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every mapper was a 50-50. That's why you shouldn't be mad that Jalen beat you. You just flipped the coin.
I've got you there, though. I got Tylor there the other day, and, like, I was telling Tylor I was playing, like, the Scarlet, his team in Brad's event, and I was like, I lost map twice with the +3. And Tylor was like, it's a 50-50, Dan. And I'm like, you know what, Tylor? I'm glad I finally got you to say that. But it is just a 50-50. Like me missing George's lockjaw was just a 50-50. Either I hit it or I didn't, and I didn't. So.
Well, what's even funnier about that one is that one was like a statistical 50-50.
Yeah, that's true.
It was needing a 7.
Yeah, it was.
I think so. Going back to the numbers from the tournament, real quick.
Yep.
I want to throw some out there to get your guys' opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Molecule Man 6 played 24% of the field.
Probably should be more.
Oh, so, like, do you want my opinion of, like, how well Molecule Man's played post errata?
Yeah.
He's dumb.
Because I'm hard as a rock, boys. I'm
he is dumb.
No, I can't calm down. I'm not going to calm down, Tylor. I am.
He's definitely better post errata for sure.
I'm hard
like,
as
it's
a
not
rock.
even a question.
I'm hard as a rock.
So I guess what I'm trying to go through is, like, if you think that's criminally too low. So if someone's looking at the data that Cody posted and was going to say, I'm using this as a litmus test for nationals because it's probably the better litmus test that we have because it is post errata. if you think some of these are just underrepresented. Like,
I think he was underrepresented.
The worst thing about Molecule Man, and the reason he's not played more, is because he doesn't share a keyword with Iron Man or Witch. Right?
Yes, he does.
Was he? Oh, scientist. Except scientist. Sure, except scientist. So that's like theme teams is, I think, probably the way to go right now, unless you're Scott Crampton. So
or Daniel
if you're gonna
Powell at this point, right?
Or Daniel Powell,
or Jatafa.
What's the?
He's been on theme teams for a while. I mean, he obviously plays on theme teams too, but
I would say what's the?
It's so easy to do now.
What was the comic with Ultron and Hank Pym combined together?
I don't know.
There's a comic where like Hank Pym and Ultron are together. It's the Ultron Pym that we got as Superhero Prime
and Empire.
Yeah, that's the player. That's the team that you see going into nationals for Thanos between Scott and I. We're Ultron Pym going.
But I definitely think that 6 is an underrepresentation of Mo.
I think that 6 is probably about right, maybe a bit low, but Molecule Man not having Ruler is probably the biggest thing for him. I mean, there's no way in the comics he's a Ruler. I get it. He's not a celebrity, obviously, but
yeah. If you don't like the number 6, it was 24%. So 24% of the field. So
I could see that being a little bit higher. I could see that maybe being 30% in other scenarios.
I mean, it could be.
So at nationals, So at current, there were, the last time we checked last month, there was 52 unique entries into nationals. I don't know if that's gone up or down at this point. But so you're saying, the main event in nationals, 16 players, U.S. Nats. So do you think that, 4 teams would match this? Do you think more than 4 teams will be playing Molecule Man that makes top 16 as?
I think it's a very realistic that there could be that 5 of them, 5 or 6 could be playing Molecule Man. That is how good he is.
What do y'all think about that? Like Tylor, George?
Well, I think for Molecule Man it might be important we think of it from the field than just top 16, because Molecule Man is someone you need to prepare team-wise for all the added.
Well, luckily every pod is a 16-player pod too.
Right. but I'm thinking of it like you said. How many were signed up? 50 what?
52 currently.
So your event was 26, 25-ish. So I mean,
right. The
numbers. So you could say if this event was then, it's 12 Molecule Man out of 52-ish.
Well, that would be a 50%. I would go down to what, 9? 9 would be 30.
Out of fitness.
So let's see. So Thursday, Thursday and Friday are sold out. Thursday and Friday morning. Friday afternoon has 3. So that's 50.
What?
That's 45.
3?
3 available tickets. Sorry.
Oh,
so that's 45, and then Saturday morning has 7. So 40. We're at 50. So there's still the same amount. 50. No. There's more. That's 9. 40. 54 unique players currently. So.
And I realized that when I said that 12 was 50%, that I was very wrong on that.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, I was taking it up to like represent 50.
Yeah.
This is exactly half, so 12 would be 24% of the 52. So you're saying it'll be slightly higher than what we have now.
Yes, I believe it. So in a realistic scenario, could.
Out of 54 unique entries into the qualifiers for nationals, you think so? 25% would, or to match Jay's event would be about 13 players. To exceed that would be 14 players out of 54 have a Molecule Man on their team. And
so like
I think breaking down the numbers that way, I think I tend to agree with you as that at least 4 to 5 teams on each qualifier will have Molecule Man. Because I think that each qualifier will be sold out as duplicate entries come into play.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah, everyone not named Tylor signed up for an event early in the event they didn't
excuse
make
me,
it.
there are 9 of us.
That's true. There is 9 of you. I don't want to say everybody.
We are almost dozens.
I don't want to say that there's. I don't want to say everybody that's in there because I don't know how public some of that information sharing has been. But we do know that it is Tylor and Adam Friedman only shooting it Saturday, right? They're blowing their load on Saturday, so.
I think a lot of other people are hoping there's going to be space on the other one, which is going to be. It's going to be tight. But
it's going to be because the only one that has space right now is Friday afternoon, and has 3. So Friday morning is sold out. And then,
as is Friday afternoon.
No, Friday afternoon's not sold. It has 3 left.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay.
Right. So
that's the one that overlaps with the thing, right?
That overlaps with the X of Swords event. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I paid.
Which is also sold out.
Which it is, and I paid $60 for it. So I sure hope to goodness I don't have to give up my $60 ticket to try to go play in.
To buy one of those 3.
Right. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Well, where's the? I'll take it off.
Just join me on Saturday, Daniel. Saturday gang.
You know what? I don't want to have to join you on Friday or Saturday. I want to just be done on Thursday.
But yeah, so I think going into nationals, like back to at least the Molecule Man talk. So every Thanos team is going to have them.
Jalen didn't play him.
Yeah, he did. Right?
Am I dumb? No, he didn't. Right?
He didn't.
Did he not?
But he should have.
Did he not?
He didn't. But he even said he wanted to.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, he didn't play him. I'm not crazy.
No, you're not. But he said it hurt to not play him, and he might go back to actually play.
Well, sure, that's fine.
Every scientist team is going to play him.
That's for sure.
This is going to be popular.
Yeah,
every non-theme team is going to play him.
I don't know if that's true.
I think every non-theme team should.
Mm-hmm. Should consider him. I don't know if he's relevant in every single team, but.
Man, I tell you though, I don't think I can understate how good Molly Man feels post errata.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah,
and
he's
quick.
Yeah,
he felt quicker. Like it was great.
Sure.
Yeah, I tell you, on turns that I put out 11 squares of barrier between Molecule Man, Marvella. It felt fantastic. I was like, okay, let me place my 11 squares of barrier in my smoke cloud, and let me build everything just right and make sure that I can do 4, 4, and 3 legally. And there, it was like, okay, sounds good.
All right, so let me ask another one.
Okay.
This one is more for George too. It's strictly from the standpoint of George. I think you were the only Fantastic Four team.
Yes.
You were the only one. Do you think your win is going to make people recognize or bring Fantastic Four back into the limelight? Because only one out of 25, and we're all talking about it being one of the top 3 builds. I mean, seems pretty crazy.
Oh, I mean, Fantastic has been out way before I played it. Again, with Nate and Wesley. Then even Matty G piloted it too, and they were pretty successful. And it hasn't caught on thus far, so no, probably not.
Go ahead.
I have a theory of why.
Well, I was gonna say, is it because of the meta fatigue? I feel like my ongoing theory is that certain pieces, when they've been played so long, people stop playing them partially because 1, they think they've been solved, and 2, they just don't want to play them. Like they want to play sometimes something new, some new cool combo.
So I think that is a real thing that exists. I don't think that's what Fantastic. because not a lot of people were playing it. So even before this, so it's not like it got overexposure. It's just it's a swap team, and the swap teams tend to have a lot of go out of the gate, and then people realize how taxing they are to play for a long period of time, so they tend to fade away from them. And two, the Fantastic Four team it's not easy to play that defensive shell for an entire day.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just don't have the capacity to play it for long periods of time.
I think Az hit it on the head for me, right? I think the team would be something that like I could play, like it would be a Daniel type of team, like come hit me, right? Because that's the same thing I say with Thanos, right? Like, okay,
no.
No.
I have to disagree here. This is not a Daniel type of team. This is a Tylor type of team. You move into their face and say hit me.
Okay,
that's not what Daniel does.
That part, yes.
Okay, so you're true. That's true. So Tylor, are you convinced to play Fantastic Four now for next week?
Yeah, I'm hard swapping. Yep.
I've got some...
no. So my opinion is that it was starting to catch on, and people were getting onto it, and there are more and more people playing it. And then I'm misremembering, but in my memory, then Scarlet Witch and Agatha came out. And people still moved across the board and sat there, and then they got ruined and demolished. And
that is true. That did happen.
Yeah, and that was my opinion as to why it fell out of favor. And I said it. And then at that time, I was like, I still think it's a good team. They just probably need to adapt or find a way around it because this is just like the first time they're running into it. So I'm assuming that. Obviously George didn't run into one of them today, but I'm assuming he had a plan for it that they had worked out that they didn't have back when it sort of fell out of favor.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's kind of, and I know we know a few people that are coming to Nets that are probably playing Fantastic Four, so there's going to be a few at least.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I think what we think. I mean, Matt's going to be there. Nate's going to be there.
Is Wes coming? Do we know?
No, Wes is not. So
dang it.
I've asked him that. And we think that Isaac might be playing a similar team to Alex that has the swap. But I would say the big deal with Fantastic Four is the two dogs.
Right? I think that is the biggest deal for specifically Thanos.
No, I think that is a big deal for every team because a lot of things don't have 3 bolts. So
yeah, I mean that's true.
So you're either doing that or you're having to hit a single doggo. You're still running through both doggos, right? Because they put all of their important pieces that you want to KO adjacent to 2 dogs. So you're still having to run through both dogs before you go get onto the tasty pieces. Right? Obviously, Scarlet Witch and Agatha Chaos and Runes aside, Agatha Runes, Scarlet Witch Chaos, and that's the big difference. To whereas a team with 3
hard for a lot of teams to handle.
It's hard for a lot of teams to handle, and then you haven't touched Franklin, who has, whatever, he goes up to 14 for 7 and claps you, right? Or whatever. So
I'm gonna say a hot take here. I think Franklin is the problem piece on that team.
I don't think I would say the word problem, but what I would say is it wouldn't have enough offense if it wasn't for Franklin.
So I agree with the offense part. It's also
he's saying defense. Yeah,
it's the linchpin of the defense too. The dogs don't matter if you can outwit Mastermind.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, that I also agree with. Yeah,
George, during your games, because I have been playing like a hybrid Fantastic Four.
Right.
How many times did Franklin actually come close to death? And most likely, I would say probably 95% of his damage probably came from his own ability. How close did he ever come? Did he ever lose Franklin or what?
No, I think I want to say like click 6, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of it came from his own damage, rolling the 6s. Daniel, in the first game I played Daniel, he like energy exploded me a few times. That was adding up, which is okay. Yeah, I think click 6 or 7 is as far as you got down.
How much did you heal with Fantastic Four team ability? Because that's the most annoying part to me. It's like, you know, he damages himself, but I'm not going to focus him, and then it kills something else, and always back to top click. Oh, well, I killed these pogs that have the team ability.
Yeah, that happened too. That happened too. So the pogs, when they die, gets to heal, or whenever I get Mr. Fantastic killed, to heal that way.
You did it intentionally to get the heal.
Yeah, I was pretty sure as I was watching George play that he just hates Reed Richards.
I understand. Yeah, I just kept goofing him up. I was like, every game, I was like, oh my god. And then after I like set him down, I'm like, oh, I just did it again.
You would think that Reed Richards said bad things about Teth Adam.
Well, I'm more of a Doctor Doom fan, so maybe that's why. Maybe I'm like subconsciously throwing him out to the wolves, you know? Like...
I like it. I like that. I like that.
All right, a couple quick ones, real quick, because I don't want to obviously take too much time. Obviously, from the evidence, we've seen the fallout. Despite that one monster team, there was only 2 Blackhearts played, and only 1 Venom Wolverine was played.
No, I went on record and even said it's like monsters just lost a lot. One, Blackheart losing the 5-point map bonus made him too inconsistent to run
consistently.
Yeah, to run consistently. And the loss of barrier on top of having no stat modifications on theme just makes the team too inconsistent.
I think that's the big one. Every other team sort of got a lot of a plethora of perplexes with Disney Plus coming back, and Monster just didn't. It sort of got left in the dust. And so without the
power gem.
Yeah, the power gem, right? Sky Tyrant's only at a 12, 11 if he doesn't share a keyword, and that's much easier to deal with, especially with modifiers running around with higher defenses.
Yeah. Honestly, everybody was like, man, losing the power gem and losing 5 damage on Sky Tyrant was so big. I'm like, no, losing a 12 attack is the worst part.
But I agree that monsters definitely fell off because of those reasons. But I don't agree that Blackheart. I think Blackheart is still an S tier piece. I think he's still really, really great. There's probably a mystical team out there, especially this new set's going to help mystical out a decent amount. And obviously Disney Plus did too. There's a ton of great mystical. So
I wonder if someone's going to solve the riddle with Sky Tyrant and Collector, and just go non-theme.
Ooh, that'd be a thing.
I don't think Sky Tyrant's the
But
answer
I think the big thing is now with the rise of Sicarian Iron Man, you also have the rise of Demon and Armor.
Yes.
And that directly counteracts Sky Tyrant's stat modifications too. Because now Sky Tyrant's a 10.
But he can be outwitted. I think that's funny.
Not that power. That power's a trait.
You can't outwit that.
No. I mean, you can outwit Demon and Armor and just bat him around a little bit. It's harder on Scientists because you've got so many bloody people out there.
Right. So that's the thing, right? He goes on Scientists, right? I mean, like the only way that Monsters really is like batting him around is like if they win map and Jubilee hits the 8.
I mean,
after outwitting him.
Yes, yeah, Scarab could just outwit him too.
Well, no, Scarab could outwit him, right? But Jubilee's going to be 11 on a 19 because if they're smart, which you'd think they would be, they're going to park him in a square of printed hindering terrain on Otherworld Castle,
or just drop a.
No, you can't. You can't because Jubilee erases those.
Oh, but if she has the running shot up to get.
Yeah,
range,
I'm assuming that they have the TK to get
worst case scenario. Got it.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, right? So you park Demon and Armor in the square of hindering, the printed hindering on the map. So if she hits the 8 and outwits him via Scarab, then yeah, that's how you deal with him. But that, considering Scientist is a 9 and an 8 is an 8, right? I'm using the Tylor Speeds defense here.
Yep.
that's
I
unlikely.
don't put my name on this.
Yeah.
It's not that unlikely. 8s hit all the time. What do you mean? 8s is like a 3% chance to hit or something? Them's good odds.
It's like a 50-50.
And honestly, if you know they're going to go after Demon, Demon's going to be a 20 because they're just going to perplex Demon.
Well,
Probably.
okay, so another thing. One, I think we need to I think we're at the point now, Jubilee is not an option. We need to stop referring to Jubilee.
I disagree with that.
I mean for Monster. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
She's fine on X-Men.
Yeah.
She's on X-Men. You have the theme. You could swap her out, but Monster is not playing Jubilee anymore. It's too risky. They don't have the fluff anymore.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking, Scarab can help get around some of the things with Demon and Armor because he can outwit and then try to mind control. There's certain things around it. I think Demon and Armor is seeing more play. I don't think he is. I put him in the same category as Scarab. Like, Scarab is seeing more play also because Sarkarian Iron Man's throwing out a million objects for him to just outwit and mind control through. So the rise of Sarkarian Iron Man has risen Demon and Armor and Scarab, but not enough to where they're going to be everywhere. But it's enough for you to say, okay, what's my workaround for Demon? What's my workaround for Scarab? Not build around, but like play around. Because you don't need to build around Scarab. You don't need to build around Demon. You just have to play differently for those two.
Right.
So that's my thought with that. There's not really a lot of other crazy. Kudos to the two guys that played Emperor Gladiator.
Hey.
And they played each other like in round 3.
You don't have to give him any kudos.
All right, never mind.
Yeah. One was Mike. The other one was Jay Watts.
So, and Mike, I played Mike in round 5, and I was feeling pretty okay. And then he said the words, Watcher's range is 11, outwit ESD on Wizard, shoot Wizard. And I got real scared real fast.
Yeah,
Because I thought I was safe, and I completely forgot what that Watcher did. He needed a 9, he missed, and I'm like, that's not happening again.
Wait, why did you need a 9?
Because it's 11 on a 8. It's a 10 on a 19. Because Demon up defend to 18 plus hindering. It says his lines of fire can't be blocked, but not hindered.
Right, yeah, lines of fire are not blocked.
Another piece I want to bring up real quick that we saw in this tournament and some other tournaments. I think at UK Nats maybe or something. Karnak. I'm seeing Karnak played out of nowhere because of his whole when he has no action tokens and uses outwit, adjacent opposing characters can't use protected outwit.
Hey, he's great on the dropship teams.
Yeah, 40 points, terrible keywords.
It allows the dropship teams to one-turn Thanos.
Yeah, is that it? Do you see any other?
Nope, that's it.
Applications, any other figures? I mean,
it works against Scarlet Witch. It works against Scarlet Witch too.
And technically, Fantastic Four, if you want to get them up there for
right.
one reason.
So it's Karnak is really good, right? Jay Watts played him with Spider-Ham, which peaked, as his ears about Spider-Man family.
I love Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham is my favorite chase. That's it.
But yeah, Spider-Ham makes a free attack. Karnak, outwits everything. You have other outwits, right? Maggots now suddenly don't have to deal with, reducers. But you can just poison a high evolutionary to death, right? With 2 maggots.
Yup.
So I think that's where you're seeing Karnak from. It's just a way to get around protected outwit without having to go full Secret Six.
Right, and I'm mentioning it because we have suddenly seen him play. I've never seen him until the past month and a half.
Well, we were seeing X-Men teams playing 75-point Beast for that same effect. So this is giving it to other teams for a cheaper value. So yeah, I see it. I like it.
Yeah.
Another
thing to mention that Dan just said: no maggots were played.
Yeah, I think there was a lack.
There was no X-Men teams.
Yeah, there was a lack of X-Men teams, and I do think X-Men is still a great team.
Agreed.
So that's probably just a variance thing, or maybe a regional thing. I think that X-Men definitely. There are X-Men teams that are good enough to be played right now.
So I think that I will say this. I think that X-Men is not. How do I want to say this? X-Men's probably not good enough for next week. And if I'm wrong, I will gladly be wrong. I don't think X-Men is quite there for next week at US Nats.
I agree.
Now post X of Swords, skeet, right? We're going to be there. But that's talking about after US Nats.
The 2000s it's called.
Yeah. From to the window to the wall.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Skeet character. Never mind.
No,
you would.
Till the sweat dropped down my sword.
Wow, yeah, I think there is a little bit of that. Like the people planning X-Men are more probably building for Worlds because you do have the X of Swords, and it's like, do I want to have to play two variants of the same team, one for Nationals, or can I play a better team and then already have my X of Swords X-Men team ready? I think there's a little bit to that because I have heard some people talking X-Men and they're like, oh, I'm excited but not ready, and then they've switched to something else because it is hard to play a team when you know, hey, right around the corner you're about to get a ton of things that makes your team way better. It's like, do I want to play this inferior version when there's a better one right around the corner?
I don't know. Dan's doing that right now, right?
Huh? What do you mean?
Because of Mad Jim Jaspers, you're waiting.
Oh,
Well,
no, I don't. I think that Mad Jim. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
Well, I think X-Men though in X of Swords, there's some like significant changes to X-Men. Whereas with the Thanos team, it's like, oh, some minor things that you switch around, 30 points, 40 points. X-Men, I think there's some pieces in there that it causes a bigger change than that.
That's right.
So.
And with that, I think we're at a great point to do final
Start our set review.
Start our set. Right. Yeah. Not tonight. Next episode. So, I didn't forget any questions. I'm not begrudgingly doing it. Like, it's just my brain is not in that spot at today. I'll get there by this weekend for the audience.
You're gonna want it in that spot because you're gonna sit down at that exit. Well, the X of Swords event will be different figures, but you'll be sitting down at a BR or something, and there'll be everyone laying on the all the figures out, and you're like, shoot, I didn't do enough research on which ones I want. Like,
you know what? I'll be honest with you. I hope I don't have to play a BR this weekend.
You might depending on like what pricing they show, and they're like, hey, we've got these exclusive con LEs.
That's true, but my goal for next weekend is to qualify on Thursday, Dealer Hall on Friday morning, X of Swords event on Friday afternoon, and then play my darndest on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm thinking purely for the instance where they're like, oh yeah, we've got these sweet con LEs or elusive tarot cards that you won't get till month 3.
That's true.
My god.
You're like, it's like, yes, I want one of those to flip, please.
Just really quickly, over under on $300 for those Apocalypse prizes.
I'm not worried about the month 3 Apocalypse because it won't be legal for Worlds.
That is true. That is fair.
So, but it doesn't particularly matter unless they announce the BKO's coming down.
Unless you win it, then it matters.
Oh, like, are you talking about like? So, I would say for me, like, it's the cost of a banana. If I exit that X of Swords special event, winning the month 3 Apocalypse, I will hold on to him and cherish him. And give him snuggles until he is legal.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Final thoughts. Let's go with Alex.
Final thoughts. Eager for we'll have an episode before Gen Con, but since this is wrapping up Gen Con top, I'm eager to see the full prizing because I assume we haven't seen all the prizes yet. And I'm eager to see if there's any more con LEs or something, right? Like, we don't know. Do we know everything?
We know all the con LEs, but we don't know any of the prizing.
Yeah, like...
Well, no, they announced that the draft history thing.
Yeah, our assumption for next week's prizing is the standard Nationals prizing that we've seen at every other Nationals. Which, by the way, congratulations to Edison Lee for winning Singapore.
I guess we just compared to that.
Yeah, so that's what everybody should be getting in the tournament. And then they announced the Blast from the Past prizing as well, which is awesome.
Oh, I know what my real final thought is. This is more of like a negative to WizKids. Way to hype up that they're going to make announcements about Worlds and make one announcement on a Monday and then nothing else the rest of the week.
You know what? They've gotten the important announcement out, so...
I don't know if that is an important one, but there's like other important ones. Like, we need to know if there's more than
schedule.
Modern. Well, we need to know the schedule. Is there a Silver Age? Like, that's significant for anybody preparing.
Oh, does that format actually matter?
Yeah, they might.
If there's a metric shit ton of prizing for it on, like, say, Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, like
if they had a Silver Nationals, is there going to be a Silver Worlds?
That was a knock at that format being bad.
Oh gosh, that's, you know what? Then you know what? You just don't need to play in it. Then
it can't be bad. It's modern. What do you mean?
I guess that's fair, but it has ID cards, and it makes me not like it.
That is true.
That's true.
But yeah,
it would make for a very tight turnaround for folks to try to borrow,
pick up items.
Yeah. Because I do not have a bunch of extra shit for silver for like our team, like and I'm already like well, not really, but the team was borrowing, like half the team was borrowing something from me. But
I just they hyped up, I feel like they said announcements, but they're like, get ready for next week, and it was like Monday, here's the hotels, and I was hyped for the rest of the week. And then it's like nothing.
I do think the hotel announcement was the most
right.
Well, and then they even teased us by updating the tournament rules. So I was like, oh, sweet, that's going to go under tournament resources, and like that's why they're no.
So nothing this week. Alex, I appreciate you keeping WizKids on their toes for that, because I was kind of ready to drop it. So.
You should not. We are a month and some change away. So
what? Really? What is it?
Third weekend of September.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Yeah, probably less than 2 months.
Less than 2 months. Yes.
Dang. Okay. Quick turnaround.
All right, Tylor, final thoughts.
Man, Worlds is soon.
Yeah, dude, shit. I gotta start thinking about that. But I guess I'm really just excited for Nationals. The team, it was fun seeing everybody this weekend playing in person. I have all of the elements of my team locked and loaded. I own all of it except for I am borrowing Scarlet Witch, but I do have that locked down. But I own all the rest, and I have it. And I'm looking for a fancy box to put it all in. So maybe you'll see that at Nationals.
As final thoughts.
I'm excited for Nationals just mainly to see everybody. My focus now is for Worlds, even though that's probably a weird mindset.
I can see it. George, final thoughts for today?
Good luck at Nationals. You guys all seem ready. I like all your teams.
Who's do you like the most, though?
Ooh.
Let's get spicy. You don't have to answer that.
One of our teams is playing Wizard Prime, so
I know. Okay, so I've been playing Scientist for a couple years now. So watching someone else kind of put it together, and
I'm hard swapping to Black Adam.
There's no legal Black Adam. No,
never mind.
It's just nice to see like the next incarnations of Scientists. So
and it's
my
fairly
favorite,
different than what it originally was.
Well, we
But-
started. I was playing God Emperor, Doom, High Evos, and Wizard Prime.
So
Right,
George,
and then it moved into Barclay and Mandarin. Then it moved into Flashes and what you
Mandarin.
saw like the
Forgot
last
about
year or so.
Mandarin.
Yep, and then
Is
and then
Mandarin
now it's-
still legal,
No.
but his
No.
runes aren't? Okay.
And then it moved into this, so it's kind of neat to see like the evolution of the scientists.
so
Like I think it's where it should be right now.
so I'll
I
say
like your
this.
Spider-Man family team.
There's only so scientists are cool, and so is Spider-Man family, but there's only one bad guy team.
Now, come on. You don't.
Well-
do you even believe Thanos is a bad guy?
I did paint little goatees on all my Fantastic Four sculpts. So they're kind of from the Mirrorverse. They are, mirror
Okay.
darkly.
Gotcha.
Is that what you were talking about? The evil Fantastic Four?
No.
Yeah.
Thanos is the big
The
bad
only
here.
villain.
Is the only villain here. That is
Yep,
probably.
I like your Thanos team. I'm glad they didn't, hurt the guy too much to where he's completely unplayable. So
Yeah.
good job with that.
Let me check something earlier. It looks like Dan is subscribed to Thanos did nothing wrong on Reddit. So I think that's about right.
It'll be fun. I'll watch from the sidelines. It'll be fun to see what happens at Nationals, and
Hopefully they have a stream.
see.
That'd be cool.
I hope so too. But I don't think WizKids will set that. They'll probably ask Dan to do it if they
Yeah,
do.
maybe.
No, they haven't asked me to do it. So
Maybe just take initiative.
Give everybody GoPros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, put him on a
I'll
helmet.
wait for Worlds. I'll see you guys at Worlds again. I'll be. I like the private venue.
Mhm.
I mean, HeroClix is my only hobby, so the private venues
Yeah.
are really enticing to me. It's
Me too.
isolated, it's nice.
That's why I'm only going Saturday.
Yeah, it's nice. You don't have to deal with all the crowds and stuff. So cool.
right, makes sense.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, George. Well,
welcome.
Congratulations again on your win this past weekend, George. And I am looking forward to seeing everybody at Gen Con next week. And again, we say this before every event. If you would like to meet us, please come up and say hi. I will introduce you to Tylor and Alex and Az and Jason and Sam. But Tylor loves when people come up and talk to him. I'm kidding. He doesn't.
I was gonna say most of us, other than Tyler, are like super approachable and social, and that
Right.
wasn't a knock at Tyler. Tyler, you just gone on record and said you're very introverted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's on the record. So, but I am looking forward to meeting everybody this weekend. We will all be wearing our shirts Saturday, but I have 4 or 5 Clixed Off shirts now, so I will be in my Clixed Off shirt every day of the convention next week. So feel free to come up and say hi. And thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
So yeah.
See you.